Welcome to this week's episode of The Better Half. I'm Kyndra in Aubin, and this is Katy Hartley. We're going to take a look back at what's been going on this week.
Lots of changes with college coaches this week. Of course, the biggest local story is Dennis Erickson getting fired as the ASU head coach. And Kyndra, you and I were talking about this earlier. Should these coaches be allowed to coach in the bowl games? Of course, if ASU makes it to a bowl game, Dennis Erickson will be coaching.
I think, first of all, it's really strange. I mean, we're talking about multiple weeks where they're going to remain the head coach, 3-4 weeks possibly until this bowl game, leading practice. Well, you know that he's not going to be the head coach the following season. I think it's really awkward. My first thought was, why not just wait until after the bowl game to fire him? But I'm sure ASU is thinking, watching all these other coaches go down this week, they had to be in on that game. They have to be in on the coaching search. So they can't wait 3, 4, 5 weeks for the bowl game to roll around and then announce that they're firing their coach and looking for a new head coach. So that may be the reason, but I still think it's odd. Why not just not coach it at all?
It's such a bizarre tradition, too, in college football to fire a coach, yet let him stay on the sidelines and practice with the team. I mean, what do you tell these kids? Hey, you got to listen to this guy. He's your coach. I mean, he's fired at the end of the season. I don't understand it. I think it's really weird. For me, at my job, if I got fired, there's no way that my staff is going to listen to me after I get let go.
Well, the good thing for ASU is those players had already checked out and weren't listening to Dennis Erickson, so
obviously.
Maybe it really isn't going to matter for the bowl game that they may be playing in.
Another local story this weekend is the Cowboys coming to town.
How is that the local story? You should start with the Cardinals are hosting the Cowboys, not the Cowboys are coming to town.
As a Cowboys fan, maybe I'm a little biased. I don't know.
Where's your Snuggie?
It's in the office. I'll bring it back for the episode next week. If the Cowboys win, I'll wear my Cowboys Snuggie next week for the better half. But I think it's going to be a slaughter. I think the Cowboys are going to dominate the Cardinals. They know how to score. The Cardinals don't know how to score. Kevin Cobb's going to be playing. So much good stuff to talk about.
What's your prediction, though? Do you have an actual, I mean, you say slaughter, but what does that mean exactly in football score terms?
31-14.
Wow, 2 scores. All right. First of all, I had to really think about this one when I was trying to think about who's going to win the game, because I think the Cardinals are a little bit on an upswing. If you take out that dismal 49ers game where nothing went right and Skelton really kind of blew it with turnovers, and when your defense is on the field like 90% of the time, it's tough to win. But I think the defense is getting it together. Now, you're not going to rely on Patrick Peterson to return a punt every game for a touchdown, but I do think they lose. I do think the Cardinals lose, but I think it'll be more like, you know, a 31-27 or something like that. But well, I do think they're going to lose.
I'll give the Cardinals some credit. They have won the last 2 matchups against the Cowboys. Mm-hmm. So maybe it will be a little bit closer, but I don't think so. The matchup I'm most excited about is Cardinals' Adrian Wilson against Jason Witten. I think it'll be great to see him matched up against a tight end. So we'll see who comes out on top.
And we'll see if Miles Austin plays. I mean, I think that's going to make a big difference, too. And like you said, Kevin Cobb back. I mean, I think he's going to play this week. And it really depends on which Kevin Cobb shows up and what he's like. Because even though he's gotten some more time under his belt as far as sitting back and learning the offense, he's totally out of it in game speed. So we'll see.
Well, a player who won't be playing for the next 2 weeks is Lions defensive lineman Ndamakung. He got into a little bit of a tussle on Thanksgiving. We'll take a look here where he stomped on a Packers player. He was ejected from the game and suspended for 2 games after that. He's not allowed to practice. He's not allowed to be at the team facilities. Kyndra, what do you think about this?
Well, first of all, it makes me sick because he clearly has a major issue, a major anger management issue. I mean, first he's slamming his head in the ground and then to stomp on his arm with his cleats. You know, and then his comments afterward would just blow you away. I mean, the fact that he is in total denial, and not until, you know, all the Lions PR people and his coach get on him does he come out with some lame apology, basically sort of half apologizing for it. You know, he only did that because he wanted to minimize his fine and he wanted to minimize his suspension, you know, before it got handed down to him. It's pathetic. I'm not a fan, but we also know that Darnell Dockett, the Cardinals' very own Darnell Dockett, had some words of wisdom to say yesterday. It was funny that the Sue thing happened a while ago, even though the 2-game suspension just came out. But Dockett, with a lot of comments on Twitter yesterday, kind of trying to, you know, pump him up and give him some support, because Dockett's had a history of temper too.
Right, exactly, and I think that that's probably where Dockett relates to Ndamakung in this, telling him, you know, you got to keep doing it the right way and trying to encourage him on Twitter. I'm not really sure how I feel about the Dockett comments. I think it just, I get where he's coming from. I think it takes it a little bit too far. What I would have liked to have seen is Dockett saying, hey man, you clearly have an issue here. Let's get some help so that this doesn't happen again, because it's a pattern now. I mean, this is not the first time we've seen this from him this season.
Well, and he met with Goodell earlier this season, and they had a great talk. But I think Goodell, after this last incident, is going to say, look, clearly we didn't have the conversation that he was hoping for the last time they got together. And I know he's appealing it and whatever, and right now it's a 2-game suspension. But I'm sorry, Sue needs some major anger management issues. I mean, it's just ridiculous to treat someone that way and not think that you're doing anything wrong. It's just unbelievable.
Well, we're out of time for this week on The Better Half. Maybe we'll check back in on this story next week. Until then, you can follow her on Twitter at Kyndra620. You can follow me at FunKaty620. And we'll see you next week for another webisode of The Better Half.